everyone, to the first exhibit hall interview of the day. You are in for a real treat with one of the most amazing glaucoma experts, Dr. Nathan Lighthizer. And what we're going to be talking about today is some of the most exciting technology available. And of course, Dr. Lighthizer uses so much incredible technology in his practice. But before we begin, I am giving out a raffle code. That's right, I'm giving out the raffle code at the very first exhibit hall interview. So the raffle code is trabecular. So while everybody is entering in that raffle code, Dr. Lighthizer, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice?
Thank you, Dr. Wu. My pleasure to be here. Dr. Nate Lighthizer. I'm an optometrist and associate professor at the NSU Oklahoma College of Optometry in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, where I serve in a variety of roles, including the chief of our specialty care clinic, where we utilize a lot of this technology, perform laser procedures, et cetera, et cetera. So absolutely my pleasure to be here. Looking forward to it.
Amazing. So just for some of the attendees that are listening in, can you just tell us a little bit about the Care Tonometer and rebound technology in general?
Yeah, so certainly rebound technology has been around for a number of years now. It's been almost 15, 20 years that's been around. Rebound technology utilizes a probe that is put towards the cornea at a fast pace. It bounces off the cornea and it measures the deceleration time off of the cornea, the contact time off the cornea, and it has an algorithm that then gives you the intraocular pressure. This is all done in a handheld device, a battery-powered device that obviously is very portable and does it in a very, very slick way. Generally speaking, and very simply speaking, the higher the pressure, the faster the deceleration of that probe and the shorter the contact time, and that's how it measures the IOP. So rebound technology has really been around for a long time in the realm of the Care Tonometer. It is less subjective than Goldman. There truly is a subjective component to Goldman applanation tonometry. If I measure pressure, Stephanie, and you measure it in the same patient at virtually the same time, I may get 17 and you get 18 or 19. So there's truly a subjective component. How much anesthetic did you put in? How much stain did you put in? Did we read it in the right fashion? Different skill levels. Certainly I'm at a college of optometry. A second-year optometry student may get a little bit different reading than you or I that's been doing this for decades. So there's truly a subjective component to Goldman, and that's helped to overcome with the Care Tonometer. It's more efficient. No anesthetic in the eye. You can less skilled individuals can quickly get a reading. So it really offers an advantage to be able to do that without anesthetic in a very quick. It can be delegated to a lot of staff individuals. Our students love this. We go through more of these probes because they find it so simple and easy to use. Technicians have the same thing because of how much more efficient it is than Goldman. And really the most important thing is, does it give comparable results to Goldman applanation tonometry, which is probably still considered widely as the standard of care in glaucoma. But we have many more patients that don't have glaucoma. But there was a study by Chen in 2019 that looked at NCT. It looked in patients with a pressure less than 10, 10 to 21, 22 to 30, and 31 and above. So 4 different categories, 4 different levels of pressure, and they were all comparable in those results. And lastly, a great patient experience. You, I'm sure, no doubt, have had patients going, please don't give me the puff of air in the eye. All remember that. Goldman, they've got a probe coming to their eye. They have to put numbing drop. A great patient experience when patients are on social media and talking to their friends. Boy, my doctor has this great way to check pressures. Certainly that could benefit the practice as they tell people about you on social media and just to their friends.
Well, I'm really glad that you mentioned the air puff test, because so many of my patients, that is one of the worst parts of their experience when they're coming to the eye doctor, is the dreaded air puff. So having another option like the Care, I think, is incredible. So with the Care, can you explain how it's evolved over the years?
Yeah, it's really evolved. It first came about in 2003 and was FDA cleared in 2007. The first version of that, again, was very, very popular because it was really our first iteration of rebound tonometry for about 9 or 10 years, and it still is. But the second generation came out in 2006, easier to use, more user-friendly features in terms of alignment. Do we have it exactly where we need to go to get the best readings, color indicators, things like that? So a lot of end user features that made it much more user friendly. And then the latest version, the IC200, was released recently, and now it can be tested in any position, whether the patient is sitting upright, whether they are standing, whether they're partially reclined, whether they are totally supine. There's a lot of different ways Care 200, the I100 can. So I think that's a great upgrade. Measure pressures in a variety of different positions the patient may be in, and that's both the IC200, the one that we use in the office, as well as the iCare Home 2, which was recently released as well.
So you just mentioned the iCare Home 2 that just got FDA cleared. Can you just describe a little bit about the benefits of home tonometry?
Yeah, so we certainly, when we bring patients into the office, we get a one snapshot in time. We check their pressure once that day, whether it's morning or in the afternoon. And we may try to, have this patient in the morning on some, and then the afternoon on other visits, but an effect on that patient to progression. And we had a conversation a week ago. I was at a conference, and one of the attendees asked me, when do you do serial tonometry? And my answer was not often. I could count on one hand the number of times that I've done serial tonometry in my career. It's not convenient for the patient. They don't usually want multiple times throughout the day. And it's not convenient for the office as well. So it's very rare very rare to do serial tonometry. Progression is happening, and yet the IOP is stable. The IOP is stable. The IOP is stable. And you go, why is progression happening on the visual? Have the device. It's easy for patients to use. Train your staff and get multiple readings throughout the day without having the patient come in multiple times, which can be inconvenient. So I think it offers a great advantage. And again, patients can now measure in the supine position, and they're out there that we know that pressure can often be the highest elevated when patients are in the supine position. So to be able to measure that in the iCare 2 at home is certainly beneficial.
Well, that's such an amazing revelation, right? Where, like you said, we're only checking the patient's pressure at one point of the day, at one time, and exactly how they're sitting in the chair. So it's so cool that there's something that patients are able to use at home that can be really helpful to their management program.
Yep, absolutely.
So when I think of iCare, and I know a lot of us probably thinking of iCare, I guess I just think of tonometers, but I've heard that iCare and CenterView have now merged. If you could tell us a little bit about that and kind of the expansion of the portfolio.
Yeah, so iCare and merged when it really expanded their portfolio from just tonometry into perimetry, into having fundus photos, confocal imaging. So it really has allowed them to expand their portfolio, specifically in regards to the imaging, to be able to have a variety of cameras to utilize. And these cameras from the DRS Plus, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, which gives you a great friendly, staff-friendly acquiring images, scans the back of the eye, the true color, the true image, which allows you to get the best images, especially on patients with small pupils. It allows us to really get a nice image of that retinal nerve fiber layer versus standard imaging. And we all know in that nerve fiber layer in glaucoma patients, we're looking for those little wedge defects. Can we identify those? So it certainly is a nice to have confocal imaging to get that sharpness, that clarity, and that fine resolution offers a significant advantage.
That's great. I mean, that's something that, I don't think was available years ago, and just to see the technology improve and how it helps us to manage these glaucoma patients is so fascinating. And can you tell us about the compass perimeter and kind of what the benefits are and just kind of how you're using it?
So we know in glaucoma, we don't have a perfect answer in glaucoma, do we? We wish there was one test, they could put their eye in a thing in it and go, you have glaucoma or you don't have glaucoma. But as you know very well, we don't have one perfect test for glaucoma. It is a puzzle. And we are solving it and adding up all these pieces. We talked about tonometry, whether it's rebound or Goldman. We talked about at home. Obviously, we look at gonioscopy, look at the nerves. We take pictures, as we just talked about. But really looking at structure and function is going to, we've done that for decades and decades and decades. Visual field. It's looking at and function in one instrument is really the take-home message and the big benefit of the compass perimetry is it's a perimeter. It's a visual field device that has retinal tracking through. If the patient moves their eyes, if they blink at all, the machine is going to automatically adjust based on that eye movement to make sure that every single time they are testing in the exact same spot. That point of light that's testing threshold at the exact spot every single time, visit after visit. So that retinal tracking is going to be very, very advantageous visit after visit after visit. Is this repeatable? Visual field component. And again, it has auto pause. If the patient blinks, it will automatically pause. There's no trial lens. It will automatically adjust and auto focus. It's going to picture a 60-degree photo, and that's your true color image. So you've got function with the perimetry. You've got it can visual field points right on the back of the eye to get yourself a great idea of what's the structure and the function.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that you have different measurements and it's able to do different things, because I think a lot of us that practice, we've got small spaces. And so if we have a room that's just full of machines and machines and machines, not only can it take up a giant footprint
to the eye, and you can choose, do I want to take a picture just centrally in the macula? Do I want to go over to the optic nerve? Do I want to take pictures in the arcade as well? So you can select many, many points of, I want this image and this image and this image and this image and this image. Sort of like a montage is basically, if you do all of them, you'll have a great big montage of the back of the eye through the arcades, superior, inferior, nasal to the nerve and temporal. Or you can just say, you know what, I'm just interested in a centered view on the optic nerve, and that's what it will give you, that centered view of the optic nerve. Again, macula, whatever you choose, but whichever ones you choose, say, I want these 4 images in the right eye, you hit the start button and it will go vroom, 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 and it will take those 4 images very quickly and basically on auto mode. So it does a tremendous job. And again, it's got the confocal imaging, which gives you the advantage of the best sharpness, the best contrast, nice resolution for that. So right eye, it automatically goes to the left eye. You select the options that you want. It's been a great job. Our students and residents and the couple of technicians that we have went, this is just awesome. It just pretty much takes the photos itself. And we've even utilized this for anterior segment photos. You can take a picture. I've had a patient close their eyes, and I've taken pictures of what's the amount of injection on the conjunctiva, the red eye, have them close their eyes entirely and take a picture of an eyelid lesion, a lump or bump per se. So it's got the functionality. It's mostly used for the posterior segment, but you can actually take anterior segment photos with it as well. We've done that occasionally with it.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, just hearing about these exciting advancements in technology and the way that you're using it in practice is really, really inspiring. And it's really amazing to learn from you. And thank you for all you do for your patients and for us optometrists and ophthalmologists that are listening in, anybody else. You're just such an expert. I always love learning and listening to you. Thank you so much for being with me today. And thanks for sharing all your information with us.
Thank you, Doctor. My absolute pleasure. I always enjoy getting to chat with you. So hope everybody enjoys the conference.